announced that money, about 300 million cedis, with half for urgent relief and half for mitigation. Now, later reports say the Ministry of Finance had credited 350 million to the National Disaster Management Committee, the account at the Bank of Ghana. And then there's a breakdown, 200 million cedis for urgent relief,
right,
and then 150 million for flood mitigation. I'll continue shortly, but let's go to Kay, so that he walks us through the ledger of facts, flood resilience in Ghana, whether we are solving the causes or treating the symptoms. Kay, what do you have for us?
Yes, thank you, Crosby. I think I've written on this largely, and basically, my opinion pieces are saying floods are not simply acts of nature. You know, they expose failures of governance, planning, procurement, maintenance, and enforcement. And my central questions have always been, where did the money go? Who approved the contracts? And why do the same places flood? Who benefits from repeated failure? So if we look at it from flood resilience in Ghana on the ledger of facts today, we are asking our big question for our big conversation. Are we solving the causes or treating the symptoms? And I think in the last few days, the GARID conversation has been one of the outstanding conversations within the space concerning floods and how we are able to manage floods, basically. So we'll take it from the GARID financing. GARID financed Ghana up to $350 million US.
Okay.
The total World Bank financing after US 150 million top up in 2023. The original approval was 200 million, initial GARID loan approved in 2019. And then there was a top up in 2023 to the tune of 150 million US dollars. So making it a total of 350 million US dollars.
Right.
Now, if we look at the disbursed funds by June 2025, 127.1 million US dollars was disbursed. That amounts to 36.3% of total GARID credits disbursed. And the GARID transactions, if perusing their own records, their own ledger, we're seeing about 2,688 transactions in all, approximate number of payment records reviewed for this particular ledger. And then the total commitment, that's the gross GARID commitment in transaction ledger, is 592.34 million Ghana cedis.
Okay.
If we look at the total that was paid, payments recorded in the ledger, we're seeing 551.57 million Ghana cedis. And then we are looking at the outstanding, the difference, which is 40.78 million Ghana cedis in commitments still outstanding. Now, we look at 2019 to 2024 flood works, and we realize 65.07 million Ghana cedis, amounting 23.45%, clearly linked to flood and drainage works. So from 2019, when the funds, the first 150 was released, and subsequently in 2023, when 200 million US dollars was released, up to 2024, 23.45% only were linked to flood and drainage works. Now, if we look at the 2025 to 2026 flood works, we are seeing 208.95 million Ghana cedis released. And That makes up about 76.23%. And I think that's where a lot of people have been asking questions that how come between 2019 and 2024, 65.07 million Ghana cedis was used. That's 23.45% of the funds were used. And just in a period of 1 year, 208.95 million, that is 76.23% of the funds were used. The explanation has been that 76.23% has been linked to flood and drainage works, where directly, that's the infrastructure, whereas the 23.45%, has been linked to things unrelated and some related to flood mitigation. Now, if we look at the Odo capacity gain, that's reported increase by June 2025 is 0. Nothing has been done. In simple terms, so it's understandable. If we look at the detention capacity against...
Okay, hold on. So the Odo capacity as of June 2025 is 0.
Yes.
But for the 65.07 million cedis, some was allocated to clear, to do flood and drainage works.
Yes.
The Odo was not targeted, the Odo was not part of those areas?
It was supposed to. There are a list of places that should be done. The Odo is one of them. So ideally, if we look at the capacity, that is zero cubic meters has been done. So we look at it, the detention capacity is still 0.
And even with the 2025-2026 flood works program,
yes,
the 208 million cedis,
yes,
that also, I'm sure that is from beginning 2025,
yes,
up until we're still in 2026.
Yes.
But by mid 2025, we still do not see any impact.
No, we'll be coming to the 2025.
Okay.
This is for the 2019 to 2024.
Okay.
And then you realize that if you look at the Odo Channel floodwater carrying capacity, the target was 191,500 cubic meter. That's the volume, but 0 was delivered. And I think that's exactly what I've been speaking to. If we look at the civil works that was done as well, or even if we look at the upstream flood detention capacity as well, that's the 1 million cubic meter in terms of volume. The detention capacity is also 0.
Okay.
And then we look at flood ponds built. The target was supposed to be 2, but none completed by June 2025. So this is capturing its entirety.
Okay.
And if we look at bridges constructed, there's supposed to be bridge constructions as well. We see 0 of 3 as well. So for our bridge constructions, we see a 0.3.
Okay, let's move on and see.
And then we look at the drainage repaired. We should have repaired at least 6 kilometers of drainage repair.
We should have
by 2025, and so far we have only delivered on 0.10 kilometers. 0.10.
We should have done.
Let me not sound like a non-mathematician. 0.10.
We should have done how much?
Yes, 0.10. That is less than 1 kilometer.
No, but tell us, what should we have done? What was the target?
6 kilometers.
6 kilometers.
Yes.
From which period to which period?
We've GARID has been in force since 2019.
So from 2019 till 2025,
yes,
according to the GARID project,
yes,
we should have done about 6 kilometers drainage repairs.
Yes,
and as we speak,
yes,
well, June 2025,
yes,
last year 2025,
yes,
we had done
0.10,
not even 1 kilometer.
No, not even 1 kilometer.
Not even 0.5.
Yes. And if we look at solid waste collected, we are looking at about 404,900 cubic meters collected and disposed from underserved communities. And assets recorded is amounting to 362.34 million Ghana cedis. But asset register must show what became of flood control. So the big question is, are we reducing flood risk or only funding another cycle of reports, relief, desilting and reconstruction? And once we've gone through the ledger and we go into the big conversation, there's a lot more. So for those who are listening, it's important that we understand that when funds are committed to help solve a crisis, to help mitigate floods and deal with it to a large extent, and we are still experiencing floods, then we must ask questions. People have said that from 2019 to 2024, a lot of the commitments the funds used were overheads, like we've seen things like trainings and vehicles and things like things, COVID-19, things unrelated to the flood mitigation, the purpose of the funds itself, and then from 2025 to 2026, you see, there has been an increase in expenditure, and people are asking, where is the value for money? Because as much as we say the funds have been used for infrastructure projects, we want to see the value for money. What has the money been used for? Who are those contractors? How were they contracted? Are they giving Ghanaians value for money? So these are non-partisan questions that need answering. And that is why some of us have used our platforms to advocate that the government must come clear on the figures. Because, so far there's very little data on information. And even how we managed to get the ledger of over 2,000 transactions, it's a miracle.
And picking up from what the earlier ones you mentioned,
yes,
particularly for the drainage repairs,
yes,
that money was allocated for.
Yes.
But we did not do. We've only done about 0.10 kilometers off the expected 6 kilometers. And a few weeks ago, I was saying that monies that are dedicated for these things, particularly for flood mitigation efforts, they should be ring-fenced, such that the way we are,
it would be used solely for what
for that purpose. Because the way we are, we will not prevent it from happening.
Yes.
We'll wait for it to happen, and then we'll have to go and do something about it.
Yes.
By the time we want to go and do something about it, the money that we should go and use to do that thing, na me ba school fees in Timdiakotia, when you know that money is for rent.
Yeah.
When you know that money is for a certain particular purpose. Because if you don't do it like that, then that is what we're talking about this morning. The monies allocated, used, but used differently.
Yeah.
So we go back to the same problem. We've not solved the problem.
Yeah.
And earlier I was mentioning some of the various interventions that have come since the recent floods. We've spoken about the emergency money. The National Post-Flood Mitigation Task Force has been created, led by Brigadier General Foster. There's also committees for coordination. The military is leading the clearing of drains, rivers, and waterways. There's the mention of possible removal of structures on waterways. Now, also, there is the general cleaning, 2 days, Friday and Saturday. Government appointees directed to lead the cleanup, relieve items to affected people, a whole lot of others. My question, and I'll start with you, Patrice, is that Are we creating or have we established many committees, projects, and interventions on flooding? We have. But why is the impact still failing?
There's no leadership. There's no leadership and accountability to that. That's a simple answer. We take a lot of things for granted and we take Ghanaians for granted. So for me, some of these things, it begs the question of quality of leadership that we have and purpose-driven mindset to ensure that the ordinary Ghanaian, so to speak, does not suffer intensely at the hands of certain inept decisions that people ought to take and then they renege on them. Why would the Ministry of Finance, together with the Ministry of Local Government, decide to seek some funding from World Bank? And it is not that this funding is an aid that is just given to us. We would have to pay back because it is a loan. Where I get the mix-up has to do with the person who is even giving out the monies. They don't care. They don't seem to care because you have come for the loan and you claim you're going to pay back, and they've seen the trace or the line of payback. So perhaps they don't care about what you use the money for, as to whether it is used for the same thing or not.
All they care is to get their money back.
So you ask the question about the World Bank, that are you just there to fleece the people because you understand the psyche of the African, that whatever they come seeking from you, they would never use it and they still would come back. But then you would have locked in the processes and procedures and the means through which they have to pay back. These are some of the key questions we need to ask. So the World Bank in itself is complicit in some of these things.
Of course, I agree with you, Patrice.
They are complicit in some of these things because if you know, every now and then you write reports.
Yes.
You review reports. You see them. You call for them. And you get to know that monies that you gave out to a certain group of people, they didn't use it for this purpose. Yet you keep on giving out monies. So for me, if the Ministry of Finance receives the money on behalf of the local government ministry to ensure that we have to deploy these monies, go to hydrological services, go to the municipal assemblies, which I think is crap anyway, because they are not being effective.
Yeah.
Let's ensure that all these works are done. Because if you are a Minister of Finance and you have a clear mindset as to the path that you're channeling, whatever you intend to do, you are not going to take monies that has been given for another sector, which is very key and essential and significant, because flooding is not an easy thing. But the stories that we have been hearing, people have passed. People have dependents that have passed.
Livelihoods wiped away.
You know, somebody gets electrocuted. That is just a life. And you think it's just easy, 9 months pregnancy, or somebody has waited like 12 years to have a child. And because of the negligence of a government appointee.
The state.
Or the state.
Yeah.
Then all these things are happening. This kind of attitude that we have is not going to lead us anywhere. It just makes us people who rape and rant. And then in the Bible, we become members of the lamentation club. All we do is to lament. All we do is to talk. All we do is to lament. All we do is to talk. And then these is they don't get anywhere. So my question is, who took charge of the monies? If the monies were not deployed to where they were supposed to, who is supposed to be held responsible? And if so, has a person been held responsible? So I like the ledger that we're seeing. What is missing from this ledger is the name of the person who was behind it.
And that's what I wanted to mention. When you're asking who is responsible, I'm saying that's why we have
I know for a fact was received, because the reports that I've read indicate that it received. Under John Mahama's first term, monies were received from the World Bank in that same state. So Seth Tekpe was the finance minister then. Who was the minister for local government then? You get it? So these are the people we know. So it was Seth Tekpe. It was the minister of local government. I don't know if it was still
2019.
No, I think 2013.
Mahama's first.
2013, yes. I think it should be Julius Deba, the chief of staff.
Yeah.
He was minister of local government then. I don't know. I'm not too sure. But then, between these people and Atachia, we need questions answered. He should leave all the wound to me matters and all those things. Leave it to his chambers, let them handle it. And come and talk to matters of grave concern to the Ghanaians, because lives that are lost cannot be brought back. And when people are doing things indiscriminately, the message is sent to other people is that I can equally do it. The reason the Chinese are taking us for a ride, because when they come, you are doing terrible things. Nobody's complaining. So what do you expect?
The name you're looking for is Akwesi Oponfosu.
Akwesi Oponfosu.
Yes, Akwesi Oponfosu. He was the Minister for Local Government and Rural Development for the majority of 2013.
Great.
And I'll go onto the phone lines and speak with Isaka Amonkote. But Kay, you want to make a point on a few things?
Yes, I think a lot of conversation is going on GARID.
Yeah.
But it's important we understand the foundational matters. So just so that we are able to help our audience who are listening for the first time get a proper context of the conversation. GARID was approved as a flood resilience project.
One of them.
Yes. And Parliament approved the original 200 million financing to improve flood risk management, solid waste management, and access to basic infrastructure in the Odo River Basin. The original component structure allocated $92 million to climate resilient drainage and flood mitigation, and $42.2 million to solid waste management, and $58.8 million to upgrading flood-prone low-income communities,
right,
and $7 million to project management. $7 million to project management. Now, the World Bank flood strategy was equally clear. Greater Accra needed an integrated flood risk program built around 4 priorities. That is, maintain drainage infrastructure, retain water, store flood water in upstream detention basins, and drain flood waters safely to the sea. It also identified non-structural measures such as early warning, flood zoning, resilient urban planning, and solid waste management. Now, the story has become more complicated, like we have described in the ledger, but it's important that we just put context to GARID, which is making, I mean, there's been a lot of initiatives, but GARID has been in the news a lot, and I just wanted to touch on that. So just so that we go over for those who are listening, from 2019 to 2024, the total amount paid in regards to GARID was 277.46 million Ghana cedis. And the identifiable flood or drain works, that 277.46 million Ghana cedis was used for. The flood works of all this money,
the hardcore flood works, not
was
the
65.07 million Ghana cedis.
So the over 100 million.
That is 23.45%. 23.45% of the 277.46 million Ghana cedis was used for flood-related interventions. And then in 2025 to 2026, almost the same amount. That is 274.11 million Ghana cedis was allocated. And 208, that's about 3 times the previous expenditure. That's 208.95 million Ghana cedis is what has been identifiable as flood and drainage works.
I see.
Particularly infrastructure, which makes up 76.23% of the total funds that were released.
And Marna, I'll pick your thoughts on this. So what Kay is describing, I get 2 things. That number one, we put money aside to build a house. And then out of nowhere, we say that, if I get this food, I'll eat. Then I take the money and then I go and buy it and I eat. I do that more than spending the money to build a house. That's one of them. The second point I'm getting from what he's telling us is that at a point, 2025 to 2026,
yes,
then we begin to, now I want to build a house. So we invest in it. Again, there's the question of the impact or the result of the huge monies that now we have spent in this. What do you make of the analysis Kay has made, and then we'll quickly go on to the phone lines and speak with local government expert Isaka Amonkote.
A lot has been said, right? Yeah. Speaking to GARID and the work that's been done and what is expected of our governments between 2019, when we put pen to paper for this $350 million US, and now. The disappointing bit for me is when this is trivialized in terms of, 65 million was used for COVID. Why was it used for COVID? And this should have happened. Why didn't this happen? You see, the bottom line is, when all is said and done, was there money? Yes, there was money. What was it used for? Have we seen the effect? 270 plus million US at least must translate into something tangible and feasible that we can all see. Yeah. And I agree with the rest of my colleagues when they say, to an extent, the World Bank is complicit sometimes in these things.
But you can't blame them too much, can they?
How are you always doling funds out? I think we've seen in the past, right, under the previous administration, when our president was going into international conversations, you see people writing in the comments, don't give him money.
Yeah. It still happens in other countries. Nigeria was
have you noticed the
recent.
trend that every election year we seem to be running to IMF?
Don't give him money.
Don't
give him money. We cannot excuse the fact that consistently it comes off as though monies are made available and the citizens don't see the benefit. I'm just going to veer slightly from floods to that children's hospital at, is it Wager?
Yeah.
Yes.
Which is a World Bank funded project.
The Accra hospital. Yeah.
World Bank funded project. At least on that score, we are told the World Bank is displeased that the funds were bloated by 3-4 times. And so the hospital has not been opened. But when the money comes, what is it used for? And I consistently make reference to what Mr. Isi told us last week, that when it was time to carry through the implementation, stakeholders were brought together. There was a decision, and these are not my words, they are his words. There was a decision to have it done by MMDAs instead of a national focus, because the national focus, it would have led to drains being constructed, persons' homes could have been affected, and because of politics, they opted out, let us give the monies to the MMDA so that they will do their, that is where we are today. You understand? And so we hear all of them say, let's take a nationalistic approach to this now. The question is, will we see it come to fruition? What happens to the remainder of the funds even? Because the World Bank issued a report last week about some of the funds being locked as a result of austerity measures and what have you. Well, if you read the report, you realize that they say the finance ministry has decided they are going to take certain steps to correct it. Are we going to see the releases? When we see the releases, who are the individuals who are going to be supervising? The Works and Housing Ministry, for one, is one of such ministries. I was hearing the minister speak in Parliament last week saying they needed to sign off contracts for desilting of drains.
One Honorable Gilbert something.
Kenneth Gilbert AJ, right? That they are going to sign off agreements so that we can have contractors move in and desilt door and all of that. The citizenry or the persons who went through this difficult period care little about the explanations and more about the tangibles.
True.
I am someone who speaks to patience because everything takes time. I mean, the order will not be desilted in one day. It will take a process. When they are building a new road for you, like the Temamoto Way, you will go through moments of difficulty.
Yeah.
Patrice is signed because the motorway has become a very difficult place. Anyway. But when it's done, you will enjoy the benefit. When you show us that work is being done, and it will take this amount of time for it to be dealt with, we will accept and we'll come to the realization that this and this is the case. But in this case, where are the works? It's a question.
Right. And on that quest for accountability, Isaac Amankote is a local government expert joining us. Mr. Kote, thank you so much for staying on the line all this while and listening in on the discussion. What kind of accountability should exist after repeated flooding in the same areas?
I am beginning to be fed up discussing flooding in Accra, but I will try. I have a passion for local government, so sometimes I get overboard and get angry over what we are doing to ourselves, Naturally, Accra is a lowland area, naturally. Accra is surrounded by what we call the chain mountains, from the Shire Hills through to the Kwapin Mountains, the Nsawam area, Adeso area, and then push up at Makati Hill. And as we all know, Accra has about 5 water basins. The Sakumo Basin, that is Tema and Nungua. The Sango River is around that area. Then from Teshi to Labadi, we have the Peshi Lagoon receiving the water from upstream through Chadu and then into the lagoon. Then from 37 area up to Alajo, Kotobadi area, Caprice, we have the huge water basin from Asalom down to former Krimetu and then through the underground to the Ghana Commercial Bank behind VIP, that area. And then the Onyanshia and Odo, they meet at Caprice and they all go through the channel, that huge drainstorm into the Kwali. Then we have the Densu that takes care of, it runs through Pokwase, Amasaman area and through the Saki River and then into the Kwali area. And then we have the Lafa Basin from Akraka up to Dansoma. Now, what are we doing to ourselves? We have wetlands along all these areas, wetlands. So maybe a couple of years where we don't have much rains, individuals go and fill all the water, the wetlands, and then they go back to the assembly and apply for rezoning. Because during that time, yes, when you get there, they have built already. And the assembly will also approve the rezoning. And then some of them get permits. Typical example is Chadu. In 2020, they applied for a rezoning in turning the mangrove area, the swampy area, into a mixed use because they had filled and built on the land already. So yes, when you get there, you will not see the mangrove. And the assembly will be compelled to issue a permit to them. Mm. The same applies to the Ramsar site at Sakumo. The Forestry Commission at that time, headed by Sir John, they changed the Ramsar site into residential mixed use. And the same thing applies to the Pambros area. And we have spots within the Fafraha and Abokobi and all those areas. So if we have the rainwater coming from the basin, which must come through to Accra and then into the sea, and you have all these impediments in the waterway, what you're going to see is flood.
Right.
So it happened, and Nanado created the GARID, which I heard you discussing.
Mm-hmm.
The technical guys within GARID said, yes, we have seen the problem. We need to construct 18 water retentions on these basins. But we decided to use the money to go and do COVID operations. And then training, about 23 million into training. I don't know whether they were training people to pilot B-52 or I don't know what kind of training that wasted, $23 million. I cannot understand it. So at the end, we had blown $127 million without anything. I hear this time they said they are now going to start constructing the water retentions.
So
now,
Mr. Gote,
let's come to waste.
We'll get there shortly, but based on your experience in the work of the assemblies, when these decisions are taken from the central government, does the assembly have any way to demand that what you people said, what you advanced to get the money, is given to the assembly for the assembly to take to do what they have to do, or the assembly is just handicapped based on the system that we operate in?
No, as for the assemblies, they don't have the capacity to even get involved in hydrological matters. So they are out.
So the expectations of people of the assembly, then, what happens to it?
Well, we from time immemorial, we used to have a hydrological department and the Ghana highways.
Mm-hmm.
And then it became a Ghana Hydrological Authority somewhere in 2021 under the same Nanado. He created Ghana Hydrological Authority. So Ghana, the hydrological problems have been handled by these authorities, not the assemblies. So yes, we have a huge water basin running through an assembly, but they are handicapped. They cannot touch it. They cannot do anything on it.
I see.
Yes. Their bit is about waste management.
Right.
Because apart from physical structures impeding the water flow, we have waste also in the water flow.
That's true.
So impeding, yes. So that is their area. And since 1992, we've been practicing district and municipal assemblies without waste management department. As we speak now, all the municipalities you have in Accra, they don't have waste management department.
So
and a typical waste.
So when it comes to waste management, then based on the lack of the department at the various municipal assemblies, then we cannot demand the assemblies do what they should do in that regard.
Exactly, because a typical waste management department will have a waste director, his assistant, a number of supervisors, a number of waste workers, and then waste volunteers. And they all have their clear functions. A municipality of about 300,000 population to have about 20 trucks. They should know where they are going to dump, the final disposal of the waste generated in their municipality. But what we have is the environmental officers who are in charge. They locate strategic areas and then plant these huge containers, what we call the skips, in the electoral areas. And you are expecting the residents to carry waste and walk about 1,000 meters to go and dump in the bin. And elders don't carry waste. So we give it to the kids. When they get there, there's somebody sitting there who say that this thing is full. So send the waste back home. Where do you think the child will send the waste? It will drop it behind somebody's house. And when it rains, it will find itself in the drains.
So, as we speak, the assemblies are not equipped to deal with the various waste
they don't
generated
have.
by households.
They don't have. I can tell you that there are about 23 municipalities in Accra, and they are operating with about 10 trucks to lift such waste. That is the reality. And environmental officers are in charge of the waste in Accra, especially residential waste, and that is where the problem is. The problem is not about, it's not on those who are doing the street sweeping and all that. It's the residential waste. That is where the problem is. People are doing open burning. The rest find themselves in the drains, and then we collect about 40% of all the waste generated in all the municipalities we have in Accra. And at the final disposal, they don't even have any idea of where the waste is going. Somebody will just go and locate an abandoned quarry and say, okay, this year we are going here. Everybody move your waste there. So at the end of the day...
So in this case, then who is or who becomes responsible to deal with the waste generated at the various assembly levels?
This is $1 million question. I thought we have a sector minister. Or don't we have?
Of course, there is. There's agencies that deal with it.
So why do you want to play around with the question? Somebody must carry the policy along. And we all know that you don't put 300,000 people in a municipality without waste management department. Are you joking or what? And there are some companies who are also going around, collecting from individual houses under ESPA or whatever they call themselves.
Okay.
And when you have about 200
the
houses,
assemblies do not have the capacity to deal with waste, but
no, they don't have. They don't have.
Say again, sir.
They don't have.
Okay, but based on the expectations people have of the assembly and the mandate of the assembly, although they don't have the department, what can the assemblies do to, if you like, take care of this problem their own way?
They must have a department fully for that. There is an Act 1961. It was passed 2009. And that says that the assemblies should have trade and industry department. They should have waste management department. Since 2009, we have never implemented it. Because that is a fact. You don't create an assembly, a municipality with a population of over 200,000, 300,000, and there's no waste management department to manage the waste. What are you expecting the people to do? We have not even mentioned liquid waste. So we are only dealing with solid waste.
Right.
So we have created problems. All the 8 years of Nanado, we didn't have waste management department. The 1.5 of JM, we don't have. So the waste will find itself in the drains. It's as simple as that. And then the rain harvest collection. Everywhere in Europe, we harvest rainwater. You don't allow the rainwater from your roofing to hit the ground because it is going to wash the earth into the drains.
Right. Mr. Kote, let me take you a few steps back. Still on the waste management concern, the environmental officers who graduate from the few schools that teach or educate people in this training or in this field, who do they report to because they work within the assemblies?
Yes, that is what they are, the people in charge of waste.
Yes.
But waste management is not about environmental officers.
Mm-hmm.
It's about a mechanical engineer who understands the equipment and understand the environment, who can cause waste, municipal waste audit to determine the kind of waste we are even generating and how to apply the 3 R's: reduce, recycle, and reuse. So if we get place environmental officers in the municipal assembly with a population of about 300,000, science has taught us that each individual generates solid waste of 0.7 to 0.85. It depends on whatever you are doing. So if you have a 300,000 population, you should have a fair idea of the strategy you are going to mount in managing the waste in your municipality.
Okay. Mr. Kote, sorry that we have to dwell a little bit on the waste conversation, but for the various assemblies, based on how they are made up, we understand the assemblies also provide some waste management services, either directly or indirectly through contractors or subcontractors. For instance, they may contract Zoom Lion or other private waste companies. But the assembly still has responsibility for planning, for supervision, for sanitation education, and everything concerning sanitation. But they are able to do these without the department. If they are, then what more do they need to deal with the waste problem proper?
So if they are able to do that, why are we in this situation?
But they do, don't
because they? Because if we have a classic waste management situation and you want to make do with some makeshift arrangements, I don't see how you want to get the results. Because you see, the assemblies can engage contractors to assist, but who supervises the contractors themselves? Because if in my residence, for instance, I have engaged a contractor, okay, the assembly brought the contractor, and we have signed onto the contractor in lifting our waste. But the contractor sometimes comes and do the lifting. Over 3 months, he will not visit us. 3 months. And if you have about 200 houses, and only 20 or 30 people have registered with this company, the rest, what are they doing? And whose work is it to supervise that all the rest of the houses are also following some waste management regime?
Do the assemblies have a certain unit called the Environmental Health and Sanitation Unit?
Yes, they have it. But that is purely largely environmental matters, not solid waste or waste department. There's difference between sanitation environmental department and waste management department. Two distinct departments. One will have to be checking mosquito net application and food hygiene and the rest. But solid waste department is a full-fledged department to manage waste. You don't cut. I don't know whether you are understanding what I'm saying. Because a public health officer or environmental officer, the ones we call tankers, they are inspectors of facilities. When you have a hotel, they come there, they want to see that the hotel is suitable for accommodation and all that. And those who are food vendors, they check food vendors' certificates and then determine who can prepare food for consumption and all that. But solid waste management is a different department on its own, dealing with solid waste.
Mr. Kote, hold on for me. I have some colleagues with me who would want to ask you a few questions.
Yes, I heard them earlier.
Yes, Mawina.
Mr. Kote, thank you very much for speaking to us, and the insights have been great in terms of what we've been hearing. Considering that the environmental and sanitation officers do not cut it, I hear you say that, look, this goes beyond the assemblies. But for a start, can we or should we be advocating for designated officials, technical persons within the assemblies who can begin to help deal with the waste from the assembly level, even as we hold the local government minister and the agencies behind him or below him responsible for what appears to be a failure to a great extent in being able to manage the waste over the last year or so?
No, it's not about last year. It's been with us for over 10, 15 years. I mean, running the assemblies without waste management department. I just said that there is this LI 1961. I don't know whether you can search for it and then we speak to it. It has a waste management department and it has given it clear functions. You see, yes, we have environmental officers in charge. But environmental officers, they don't have that capacity. You see, when you I don't know whether, you see, the situation we find ourselves in is we have planned the whole waste management thing towards one person. I don't want to mention it, but that is how, that is the fact. And a municipal assembly with 300,000 population, you don't even know where to dispose of your waste to begin with. You don't know it. So somebody will tell you, I have a place somewhere in Sawam to move your waste there. Then you engage waste companies to assist you, and then they come around as if they are working. Meanwhile, the residents know that they are not lifting the waste. And then we place bins, skips, within the municipality. And, you know, some arrangements are made for some trucks to come and lift them and then go to wherever they are going to dump them. We are not doing management of waste. What we are doing is just generate the waste, lift and go and dump. That one, everybody can do it. But we need to do what we call management. Then we must apply all the tools in management, in managing waste.
I see. Mr. Kwesi, we'll get back to the waste conversation, but you were listing some of the concerns, and we had to stay a little bit on the waste conversation. But move on for me. You've spoken about the waste concern. You've spoken about also the nature of Accra, for instance. Continue, sir.
Okay, so if we are supposed to free the water channel and allow the water to flow to wherever it's going, and we impede the water in whatever form. For instance, the Korle Lagoon through the Odo passes through the Agbogboshi area. And we all know, yesterday I drove past the Korle Lagoon. We have filtered the lagoon. For all these years, people are closing the lagoon with sawdust and they are putting their crazy hats on the lagoon, and we are closing the lagoon. So the volume of water coming, where do you want the water to go? I don't understand why we are doing this to ourselves. We have filtered the Korle Lagoon that should receive all this volume of water coming from upstream. I don't know how we want to develop the country. We must invest in, sometimes I get mad over some of these things.
Mr. Kwesi.
Accra, under AMA. You see, in the morning, if you are up in the air, you will see everybody trooping to Accra Central. And then in the evening, we all move out. We can't plan a city like that. We cannot manage anything under such conditions. You see. So if Accra market, the Mokola market, the orientation of the market is wholesale marketing. So when you are from Sawam, Medina, Okwase, you all go there and buy from the wholesale guys. And then you come and retail. But then the wholesale guys have turned themselves into retailing. So they have people all over the area doing retailing. So you see that we have defeated the orientation. So you have a number of people within Accra Central under AMA, which, I mean, the people are not staying there. They go and do their businesses and then they move out. So AMA is always under pressure. And then when you turn right, you go and meet the people who also are coming from, I don't know where they come from, to come and develop Agbogloshi. And day in and day out, they are building their, these structures all over, and then setting the college.
Mr. Kote, I'll let my colleague Patricia Megashi ask you a question or two, and then we can pack the
Mr.
conversation.
Kote, I'm extremely excited about the things that you have said. You've actually made my day. You have made my day. I'm serious. I'm that kind of a person like you. You know, we need things to be solved. First of all, have you written a book?
I am on it.
Okay. So it would be nice to read from you, and then we do the implementation possibly. What are the bottlenecks that you have personally encountered with regards to giving advice to whoever it is that came to seek it from you, especially people within the governmental setup? What has been your personal setback?
Funny enough, under NPP, somebody placed my name somewhere within the circle, and they were like, no, this guy is not one of us. He's not one of us. No, we are not going to listen to him. And then my name was stuck off the table. Now NDC came. I have made attempts to talk to people. Last 2 weeks, I booked an appointment with the regional, the local government minister. I sat in his office, his waiting corner for 3 hours. After filling the form and whatever, 3 solid hours, from 8 to 11:30, more than even 3 hours. And I said, hey, my friend, after all, I don't owe you, you don't owe me.
Right.
Let me check out from there. So I left.
Mr.
You see, the media, when they need me, they will talk to me. But the officials who are lacking ideas,
I'm not reaching out to you.
If you don't understand, get somebody to assist. And if I'm availing myself to, you are not ready to listen. What can I do again?
We get it. Mr. Kote, stay on the line for me. Let me speak with Gilbert Ankra. He's the PR of the Accra.
My cousin, yes.
Unfortunately, we've lost him, but we'll try and reconnect with him so that we can put some perspectives and what the actual situation on the ground is, particularly based on the concerns that you've shared with us on waste management, for instance. But while
apart from Patrice, who am I speaking with?
That's Crosby. Crosby is the one speaking now. Yeah.
Hello?
Crosby. Crosby is the one.
Okay, Crosby.
Yes.
You see,
I know you're frustrated.
I have a lot on my fingertips that can change Accra without a fight. We are not going to fight with anyone, but we change Accra within 6 or a year. We will change the setting of Accra without a fight. You are not going to fight with anyone. But nobody is ready to listen.
Mr. Kote, let's talk about the role of the assembly when it comes to illegal structures, because we know that they contribute hugely to the flooding problem we have in the country. How are they?
Are we looking at permanent structures like buildings, or these squatters doing their own thing?
Be it permanent or illegal structures, temporal structures, stalls, kiosks, all of them. We're just looking at structures that are contributing to the flooding situation we have in the country. Because as we speak, the task force has told us that some of these structures may have to go, buildings on waterways, wetlands, and all of that. How is the Assembly checking its responsibility in this regard? Or in this case too, the Assembly is not equipped to carry out the duties or the responsibility it has been tasked with? Tell us.
Okay, so apart from those who clandestinely go and then and fill wetlands or swampy areas and build,
right,
there are individuals within the system who also play smart with some building inspectors, and then they do their own thing.
Okay.
You see?
Right.
Mr.
Kuti, unfortunately, I'll have to cut you here, but don't leave the line yet because Gilbert Ankra has rejoined the conversation. Mr. Ankra, thank you for joining us. Good morning to you. On the other line is Isaka Monkoto. He's a local government expert, and this morning he's made a few revelations that has been shocking. For instance, the work of the Assembly when it comes to waste management. From where you sit as the PR of the AMA, you experience firsthand some of these things. Is the AMA, for instance, and by extension other assemblies,
Crosby, yes. The metropolitan areas have waste management departments.
True, it's the municipal
but
areas.
Not the municipal and the district.
Yes.
Uh-huh.
The AMA may have, but if you go down to the municipal areas, how are they, and to you, Ankra, how are they able to carry out the responsibility of waste management in the face of the lack of a unit dedicated to manage waste generated in the various municipalities?
Thank you very much for the opportunity. And on behalf of the Mayor, Honorable Michael Kwakwalote, we say good morning to your cherished listeners and viewers as well. You know, it's important to situate the conversation within the Accra Metropolitan Assembly's jurisdiction. And for us as an assembly, we have a well-structured waste management department. We have engineers managing those particular, the head is an engineer himself in waste management. And for us, we may not have or experience that kind of challenge. Other sister assemblies. That notwithstanding, because the area doesn't necessarily fall under the AMA, it's quite difficult to know why they are not. But we speak for the AMA, and within the AMA zone, I can tell you that a lot is happening to ensure that the issues of waste is dealt with. The Mayor himself, Honorable Michael Kwakwalote, is also looking at how best, aside the collection of waste, how as a city will be able to recycle these waste and then half the volume that we send to the various landfill sites.
And you've spoken nicely, but the reality is that Accra is still very, very dirty. I mean, your area, for instance, there's still huge quantities of waste. In fact, Patrice is shocked at what you've said.
Gilbert. Hello, Gilbert.
Yes, I'm here.
Could you kindly tell us the area that AMA covers? And if it includes Dansoman, Kaneshi, Odoko?
You know, yes. Currently, when we are talking about the Accra Metropolitan Assembly jurisdiction, we are looking at 3 sub-metropolitan districts. We have Asheduketeke, where we have part of the Central Business District. So we share boundaries with the Krole Municipal Assembly. We also, so parts of the Central Business District, we also have parts of Agbogbulushi, where we share boundary with Ablekuma Central. Yeah. Then you come all the way to the Gamashin area, all the way to Kamara and parts of Banana Inn, where we share boundaries with Ablekuma West. So Dansoman, just as you mentioned, falls under Ablekuma West. It doesn't fall under the AMA. If you come to Okankwe South, we also have parts of Kaneshi. So where the Kaneshi market is currently situated, that particular enclave all the way, Bubuashi, industrial area, Aveno, all those areas under Okankwe South falls under the EMA. So these are the areas. But let me state that there is that mayor is collaborating with other sister assemblies, MPs to ensure that whatever
we get that, Gilbert. We get that. But are you saying that you don't have problems with what's the name? Trash, waste? Are you saying you don't have problems with waste management?
I'm not saying we, as an assembly, we don't have challenges when it comes to issues of waste management. But it's important to state that as a Metropolitan Assembly, one, we have a well-structured waste management department. That's what we stand in. If you come to the assembly, currently you spoke about the fact that there are waste all over. Of course, we appreciate the fact that the flooding has brought a lot of debris, and as a city, since Monday, the mayor declared a one-week clean-up exercise.
Gilbert, sorry, I'll be interrupted because I am not understanding what you are saying. Because the floodwaters bringing the silt and the garbage now is a matter that just happened a week ago. Prior to that, I understand you have a department that is well structured. What is your department doing on ground, such that people who live within the environs and the community that you have so mentioned would not complain about what's the name? Trash.
Within the AMA, and that is what I'm telling you on authority, that there is no time you will come and see even heaps of refuse left within the central business district for a day. It is collected on daily basis because the waste is generated daily. And as a city, even if you look at our communities, today, as I speak to you now, I have been on the Beach Road, or that's the Winneba Road connecting to the Professor John Evans at Mills High Street. And on that street, you will never find any heaps of refuse anywhere gathered within the AME zone. And as for that one, yes, we can tell you. Of course, I was pinpointing to the issues of the flood debris because, you know, a lot more is happening to ensure that some of these waste is evacuated within the city.
Let's not dwell solely on the post-June 29 flood, okay? The concern is way before the flood, way before the incident happened on June 29. The June 29 incident happened based on a number of factors. Amongst them is the waste problem.
And that is what I am telling you. That within the Accra Metropolitan Assembly, of course, in as much as there will be challenges with respect to waste management, how waste is even evacuated. Within the city, we don't leave waste uncollected. The only challenge I can even pinpoint, if you come into the central business district, has to do with issues of littering. And even with the littering, a lot more is happening to curb that particular behavior. The mayor has ensured that public bins have been installed within the city. Of course, we have some who normally do some of these things. Hence, a lot more is happening. But within the Accra Metropolitan Assembly, I can tell you that issues of waste left uncollected, heaps of waste left within the city center, within the community, it is something that you cannot see at all. And that is why I am even trying to look at the current situation where the flood debris, the assembly is putting in a lot of effort, a lot of resources to ensure that this post-flood waste is cleared from the communities to.
How do you manage waste? How do you manage waste at the assembly? Where do you dump them? How do you manage it? And how do you keep that environment?
It's important to appreciate the fact that as a city, for instance, let's look at the central business district. So normally what happens is that we have, after traders are done with whatever they are doing, the assembly, we have street sweepers who normally move into the central business and ensure that they sweep the litters, clear everything, gather them, and then we have our trucks coming in to ensure that they move these waste that has been gathered by the sweepers to the final disposal site. So currently, when it happens to issues of how that particular area is kept clean, that is what is done, and it is done on daily basis.
Gilbert, where is the final disposal site? Where?
For us as a city, when we move the waste, we normally send them to the Adepa landfill site. Yes, of course. We know there are challenges when it comes to issues of landfill management in the city. Hence, the Mayor, Honorable Michael Kwakwalote, is looking at ensuring that we find ways to have the waste that we send to the landfill
it's all about
site.
what you intend doing. Aren't you close to ICGC, the Central Church or something?
Hello, Gilbert.
Yes.
Kujo here. And I've been listening to your explanations, and for me it's laughable, because we have contrary evidence to what you're speaking to, and you can tell yourself that you're struggling to explain yourself. Your government came into power, or the mayor has been in power for more than a year. Is he still thinking?
Yeah.
I'm speaking to your last comment. You see, when you're granted the opportunity, as much as you're doing your work and it's PR work and it has to sound good, you should know you're talking to your co-equals, because we are not in the business of engineering. We're in the business of communication. So when you speak to your co-equals, you should not assume that we don't understand the questions we are asking. These are serious issues. People are losing lives. People are losing properties. Businesses are in jeopardy. And you sit on the phone and you're telling us that, what are you talking about, my brother? What are you talking about? I'm just here. All I had to do was simply Google, and I found out that you're lying. And
what am I lying about?
You're telling us that.
I cannot lie.
You're telling us that.
My brother,
look, let me tell you something. Let me tell you something.
That is why we've made ourselves available to explain the issues, of course.
Right.
So it is not about that. But if you would allow me to end, you would understand and appreciate where I am also coming from. And you spoke about the fact that the mayor being in office for a year, and we are now thinking, as I speak to you now, Mayor has ensured that the plastic waste that is generated, currently we are looking at separating the waste so that we turn some of these waste into, we recycle them. And, it's a process. As we speak now, we spoke about how waste is being managed within the Central Business District, how the entire city is kept clean. And I was trying to explain that this is the processes that Assembly has put in place to ensure that we do the sweeping. Of course, we appreciate the fact that when the waste is evacuated, we have challenges of landfill sites. And I acknowledge the fact. So I am not taking this interview lightly at all.
Right, Gilbert, appreciated. Mawena Egbeta here. So we know that since the contractual arrangement with Zoomlion was abrogated, municipalities, metropolitan assemblies, and district assemblies are expected to find solutions to waste management. For the Accra Metropolitan Assembly, and you've spoken to catchment areas, Kaneshi and the likes, which are within the AMA's jurisdiction, who is in charge of waste collection for the AMA at these respective places you supervise?
Thank you very much for that. When it comes to waste evacuation in the city, currently Zoomlion is not out of the chain. We have a central container, SIP container, within the communities, and it is their responsibility to ensure that some of these SIP containers are lifted. Aside that, as an assembly, what we are doing, and as I said earlier on, Zoom Lion was ensuring that we have street sweepers who move into the community, who move into, for instance, specific areas within the central business district in the community.
What I understand is that AMA is still working with Zoom Lion, and Zoom Lion is in charge of the sweeping, the gathering, and taking the. Help us appreciate what I am saying. What's happening?
Yes, what I am saying is that Zoom Lion is in charge of the evacuation of SIP containers within the community. So if you go to the Carnation Market, for instance, the SIP container that you see there, the waste container that you see at Carnation, it is Zoom Lion's responsibility to lift those particular containers. Aside that, if you come into the central business district, for instance, the Accra Metropolitan Assembly has its own street sweepers. So our waste management department, after deploying these street sweepers to ensure that they sweep the streets, the waste is gathered at specific locations where the assembly itself moves in to evacuate this waste to the final disposal site. And this is done on daily basis. I would invite your cameras to follow us tonight to see how the waste is even gathered and then evacuated to the final disposal site. So for us as a city, when it comes to how the waste is managed and how we move them away and ensure that the environment is clean, this is how it is done. But we Zoom Lion, just as I said, is ensuring that the SIP containers are lifted.
It's speaking the SIP containers. And so you have persons who the assembly has employed and they are cleaning your catchment areas every day. How many times are they supposed to be working in a day?
Do
they go just in the morning after they are done sweeping, they are done and then they go home? What's the arrangement like?
You know, the mayor, when he took office, instituted the 24-hour sanitation system within the AMA. So after these street sweepers, they come very early in the morning, ensure that they do the sweeping for the collection, that's the mop-up in the morning. In the evening, when trading activities are done, we have another set also coming in to do the sweeping within the central business district and then ensure that the waste is collected to the final disposal site. So that is the current arrangement.
Right. Within the course of the day, do you have any officers who go through your catchment areas, particularly the market areas, right? Because those places are of great importance. Do you have any persons going through, officials who are ensuring proper disposal of waste outside of waiting for close of day before we'll come and sweep? Because you and I both know, if you, after the morning shift is done, if you go into the markets by afternoon, it's littered with filth.
Yes, and that was what I said earlier on, that within our catchment area...
Because you mentioned there's 24 hours, but within the 24 hours, it's just 2 times that people are arriving to do anything. That's why I'm asking, what happens in the afternoon?
No, that's what I was saying, that within our catchment area, one of the major challenges has to do with littering. Hence, the mayor, as I speak to you now, we have installed over 100 public bins within the central business district. If you go as far as Kolibu, for instance, we've installed some of the bins there. And it's towards ensuring that people don't litter. But, you know, it's a process, and education is very, very key in whatever we are doing. Hence, the opportunity you have even given us to express ourselves is very, very important. And so these public bins are coming in to also help support. Aside that, what we have done is also to arrange with the traders. So at least when they do their waste as traders themselves, they will have some bins to put these waste in. If you look at the shops, for instance, there are some of the areas where we even have the traders themselves getting smaller bins in front of them to put some of these litter. But just as I said, it is not 100%. It's a process, and we are continuing with education, with enforcement, so that at least people can't desist from the littering.
Gilbert, the concern is that everything you say whilst you're speaking to us sounds very great. But we go through the areas every morning. The concern is a matter of enforcement and sticking to the job and having it done. The Kaneshie market you speak about, right? I have colleagues who go through there every morning, and they tell us the waste is not collected on time. In fact, it has been like that for a while where waste was not being collected. Sometimes it goes as long as a week and the waste is not collected. And so when you tell us that SIP is supposed to be picked up by Zoom Lion and your persons are there and they are sweeping, it begs the question, is that job being done? That's the question we are asking, because if we go to Kaneshie markets today, but for the flood, which has kick-started a certain renewed sense of urgency to clean, Gilbert, you and I both know the waste can be there for 1 week and nobody has come to collect it. And that is the bane of the conversation. Why are we having in so many instances, particularly for the AME in catchment areas, where sometimes 7, 8, 9 waste has not been collected? And there are persons who are supposed to be collecting it, and they are not collecting it. And you are the AMA, you are there, and you are not doing anything about it.
You spoke about the issue of Kaneshie market, and it was as a result of the Assembly's intervention. That was why we were able to compel Zoom Lion to move the waste from there. But of course, as a city, evacuating the waste, the landfill sites, if you look at the turnaround time and all that, that is why most of the time we normally see the timing. But within the AMA zone, just as I have said, you will never find heaps of waste uncollected for a day. Not at all. We have, as I speak to you now, Assembly, we have compactor trucks supporting our tipper trucks to ensure that the waste, especially within the central business district, within our catchment area, is cleared. So, yes, there are challenges, but we as a city ensure that the waste is not there, left uncollected for a day. We do the collection, the evacuation on daily basis to ensure that the waste that is generated is collected. As for that one, I can assure you, and just as I was saying, the Kaneshie issue you spoke about, that particular area was under Zoom Lion. Immediately, we saw that the issues were, the container was full. The Assembly moved in to ensure that Zoom Lion does what is expected to do. We even provided some tipper trucks to assist, and your sister station, they were there to even broadcast whatever happened. So the AMA is not sitting down looking at things not to be done when it comes to issues of waste management. Of course, we appreciate the challenges, but we are putting in measures to ensure that we deal with them. And waste management itself is a shared responsibility. And in as much as we look at our side, what we are supposed to do, we must also look at what we are all supposed to do, all stakeholders.
Fair.
We are all
Gilbert,
supposed to do.
For you at the end, are you overwhelmed as to the waste management business? Is there genuinely a challenge that, look, the waste we are producing is more than contractually, is more than needed, and it's getting to a point where you're overwhelmed as to dealing with waste within the capital, or at least your catchment areas?
I will not say that as an assembly we are overwhelmed, but of course, the waste that is being generated is quite on a high side. And as a city, we are looking at halving the waste that we send to the landfill site. And just as I said, it's a process. We would ensure that people understand the need to begin to look at how we recycle the waste, because on daily basis we all generate waste. Today, for instance, I can assure that some of us we've bought something one way or the other, and there are some waste. Have we thought of where we are sending the waste? Currently, as I speak to you now, the AMA is trying to educate residents on the need to practice the 3 hours of waste management. So in our schools, what we do now is in our schools, within our area, we move in to educate. The information services van is also supporting to educate communities on the need to begin thinking about how we can recycle our waste. And if we want to recycle the waste, what do we have to do? We must begin
Fair point. The last thing I want to find out is about the landfill sites, right? As we speak, how many landfill sites do we have in the capital where waste is being taken to? And this I know might not because you might not directly be responsible, but we want to get a fair idea of how many landfill sites we're working with currently in the capital, Accra, because outside of AME, all of the other metropolitan and municipalities will be taking waste to landfills. How many do we have? Because I heard you also mention turnaround time from landfill sites and all.
Yes, for us as an assembly, it's important to note that we don't manage the landfill site.
Yes, I know that. That's why I said it's not within your... I'm just asking how many we have which you're working with. I know that doesn't fall within your remit in terms of management.
We are currently working with the Adipa landfill site. That's where we move our waste. But
where is that located, please?
It's within the in Sawam, that particular enclave. So that's where we, as an assembly, we move our.
So when the waste is picked from here, it goes all the way to in Sawam.
Yes.
Before it will return.
That is the distance at which the trucks or the waste beings have to move to deposit before they come back and then do other evacuation of waste.
Thank you.
Right, Gilbert, thank you so much for speaking with us. We're in this together, so you should understand this, that we know that there's a concern, but it is unfortunate when it appears as though the concern that is the reality is beat down or is communicated as though it does not exist. That is where we'll get. That's where we'll draw the line. You see, you can communicate.
No, of course, and we appreciate those
exactly
criticisms because they are quite constructive.
All we're saying, Gilbert, is that when we tell you that there's a problem, it means that we have seen the problem. It's not as though we are making it up for you to come and attempt to defend or whitewash it. We know what we are saying. There's video, pictorial evidence. We've all been there. We all live in Accra. You're not the only person seeing a certain reality that only you perceive. All of us, we know the situation. So if we are asking you, we know what we are saying, and we expect that, in all fairness, that you be forthright, if not truthful with us. But thank you so much. We appreciate your time. You are our friend, and we are your friends, Gilbert. Thank you.
But before I go,
yes,
you know I would not come on air and say things that are not. If you come down to the ground, you wouldn't see them. Everything I've mentioned about with respect to the evacuation of waste within the city. And tonight, your cameras can follow us to see what we do. They are all things that are happening.
It's true. The evacuation is happening. It's true. But the cleaning, the stench and the death. But Gilbert, thank you so much.
Thank you for those criticisms.